All right. Sorry for the late start today. It's Sunday, which means my life goes to hell. It shouldn't really go that way, but normally it does. I want to say I'm sorry that we're running late. I had some outside interference that I had to deal with. Happy Easter for me, which is next Sunday. But with that being said, today we're going to be talking about Ten Commandments. Uh, the Charles Heston's movie, 1958, I believe, is when the movie came out. I believe this was your choice, Omanel.
And that was
Nope.
Shadow.
Was it Shadow?
That was mine.
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
been hurt.
Right. Too much Charles Heston in my life right now.
No
Anyway,
such thing. No such thing. He was a
here
national
pretty soon,
treasure.
Gentleman Jack, Senior Jack, will be making his grand entrance. I posted the link in the chat. I don't want to get into this really quick. I want to say something really quick, but I don't want to get into it because I just don't. But I do want to reach out to the families of the school shootings down in Tennessee. My heart bleeds for you. I cannot imagine, and I never want to know what it's like to lose a child at all. That's not something I ever want to imagine or experience. I will not get into the political side of it. What that person did was incredibly wrong. And if you're out there like me who believe in hell, I hope he is roasting. And that's all I'm going to say about it. Anyway, sorry, but I just feel like some shit like that needs to be. People need to know people support other people out there. The world does not get enough of that. That being said, Ten Commandments, 1958, not the first.
Thou shalt not murder. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
It wasn't the first of its kind. I grew up. Well, all of us grew up. Summers were the time of the blockbuster, the big blockbuster movie. But making a Bible movie a blockbuster?
There were a bunch of them that. See, you have like the time era. The time era, those big blockbusters. Do you also forget the what was it? It was the time of epic. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Ten Commandments.
Yeah, I mean, we just did one of them. Ben-Hur. I mean,
yeah, I still say that could be turned into an RPG. I don't know if you really want to. I think this movie, if done right, could be turned into an RPG. Maybe. As you've seen in the title, I said, "What level cleric do you think Moses was?"
Isn't it like 11th level?
All lightning. What's his domains? Apparently, wasn't travel. That bastard got lost.
You're playing 5th. I'm thinking 1st. First they have isn't there one that they have parting the waters and they have the
fire water?
Yeah.
Fire. I'm not Firestorm, but
Flame Strike.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
And the plagues and stuff like that were more some of the stuff like the plagues, the fish, the frogs, the locusts, which they didn't say, which was weird. They said something else in lice, and I'm just like,
well, they skipped over several of them. And notice, because they were the plagues of Egypt, and they just kind of fast forward through those.
They hit the important ones. I think. No, I don't know. So why did you pick this movie, Shadow? I know the easy answer is because we picked historical movies, and I will give you that one. This is in somebody's history book somewhere.
The opportunity to throw yet another Chuck Heston film, and it was literally one of the greatest movies ever made. I was looking at the special effects, and I figured out how they did some of them. I'm pretty sure I know how they did the flood, the animation for the fire, but just the grandeur. How many people were in this movie? I mean, if you told me 1 million people were in this movie, I'd be like, sounds about right. I can buy that. The set, the costumes, everything was just out of this world. You couldn't do that today. You literally couldn't make this movie today without it being full of computer gen masses of people a movie like this will never be made again.
It
Unless-
is. I think the proper word for Shadow is lavish. I mean, everything, including from the slaves all the way up to Ramses. I mean, look at it. I talked about Ben-Hur doing this. Look at the chariot work and all the little works and all of the costuming. Just the jewelry on there, the little tiny things, even the cloth, all the different colors. Anyway,
Gee, I don't know about the version you watched, but Ramsey's head thing, there was I don't know if it was always, but there was this blue color in it that was just I would pay $100 for a good gallon of that color paint, and I would paint everything I've got in that color. That was just, I don't know if it was computer enhanced or what, but it was phenomenal, right, buddy? That blue.
Yes.
You got me at a little bit of a handicap.
Oh yes, well that is true. Well, even in Ben-Hur, remember that blue cloak he had? That
I
royal blue
hope
was
that
so
someday.
gorgeous.
I hope someday when you can see colors, that's the first one you see, because I have never seen a color like that in real life. It was just magnificent.
I got a small list of movies I want to see because there's sunglasses out there, but I'm not paying $1 million for a pair of these sunglasses. They're not $1 million, but they're up there. The name of I'll put this on the list, but so far on the list is The Old Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
Good choice.
This movie and God, as much as I hate the movie, I've always been told the scenery is absolutely gorgeous. The Sound of Music.
Oh yeah. Well, I've been to that area. That is not an exaggeration for the way it looks. One of the prettiest places I ever went to was a whitewater rafting in Slovenia, right on the border, which is real close in the Alps.
Slovenia?
Yes, Slovenia.
So,
I heard that's where the gays live.
Obviously, you don't know Eastern Europeans. Anyway,
Slovenia? Wait, No, I'm pretty sure that Slovenia is the gayest, no, or maybe not gayest, most effeminate country in the Balkans.
it's not even in the Balkans.
Slovenia.
man,
It used to be a part of Yugoslavia.
with the good foot.
How is that
Next to Italy. It is next to Italy.
It used to be a part of Yugoslavia. How is that not Balkan?
It's because it's next to Italy. It's not, when you start looking at stuff on the map, it's actually
Yes, I've seen a map of Italy. I've seen a map of the Balkans. It is always included.
Well,
All right.
Hungary is east of it, and Hungary's not considered part of the Balkans.
So, anyways,
Yeah,
anywho, moving on.
Oh, wow.
Hungary's east of Albania in some parts.
Hungary's gorgeous. Anyway, go ahead.
Hungary is
Anyways, anywho's. So, I recognize most of this cast from other movies. Of course, I recognize, good old Chucky Boy.
And my favorite actor, Yul Brynner.
He was
The gentleman who played Ramsey. He was in a
Yul
movie
Brynner.
that I had to watch 100 times as a kid. Oh my God, it's one of my grandma's
King Eye?
favorite movies. What was
The
that,
King
Shadow?
Eye. The
The
King
King
Eye?
Yes.
I was thinking the Magnificent Seven.
Mhm. I can't wait till Jackie sees him in not only that, but Westworld.
Oh yeah, okay.
And another one of my favorite actors was in this movie. Vincent Leonardo Price Jr.
Which one was this one? Which part did he play?
Baca.
He played-
B-A-K-A.
Okay.
I mean, growing up, I always thought he was like European. He had so much suave. He was the voice of Halloween. You know how
Yes.
people say Morgan
I don't
Freeman's
think
the voice
suave is
of
the word you're looking for.
suave?
Well,
Suave.
the voice was great. His voice is great.
Oh, Haunted Hill, the House on Haunted Hill, The Fly, help me, and a dozen other good old movies out there. No, that son of a bitch. I thought he was from Europe. Nope. He was from Missouri. I'm like, but he has too much class to be coming from Missouri. Anyways.
Again, I think he was really only in it for just a short period, but normally he kind of plays, kind of like a sweet character, but here he was a lecherous, rapist.
Yeah.
And quick question:
he was
do you
the
guys
one that.
remember?
Oh, go ahead. He was the
Well,
one that.
you
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Because it's going to take me a second.
No. I was just thinking that he was the one that decided to put Aaron up and was, hang him up, wasn't he? He was the
I
one
thought that was Joseph.
Yeah. Sorry, that's Joseph, not Aaron. Sorry, I'm getting my figures. No, yeah, I'm talking about Joseph, the one that he put up there for the stonecutter when he was trying to get it, where they lit him on fire, they lit his stuff on.
Yeah.
Which I didn't notice him because I'm so used to him having a beard. I didn't realize it was him.
Okay. Do you remember the character Abraham in the movie?
Yeah.
I know that voice from somewhere. Nobody knows who I'm talking about. Yeah, the guy who played Abraham. He played somebody big.
Man, okay. Frank D. Kova.
Kova?
Kova.
He was the voice that played.
He was on the F Troops. F Troop?
No, it wasn't that. No, it was like a fantasy or historical type movie. Somebody big, because it was just his voice that I'm just like, I know that voice, but I can't remember from what.
Yeah, he was an F Troop. Another person I want to bring up is Anna Baxter.
Which one's Anna Baxter?
Nerfini. Oh God.
Oh God, I hated her.
I didn't like her. No, I thought that Joseph's what was her name? I liked her a lot better. And
she was very pretty.
and so were the 7 shepherd daughters.
I know, right?
This movie.
You can only pick one.
Quite a bit of lookers.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd be like, that's gonna be tough. You guys are gonna have to do a little bit more convincing. You know what I mean?
You better learn to cook.
I'm pretty sure they all knew how to cook. But Kyle, look up that guy's name and see what else he did. He did something we all know, some sort of fantasy movie. I think we've seen it real recently. And you guys be like, oh yeah.
Can't be too recently. He died in 81.
No, we saw recently.
Oh, okay. He was in Lone Ranger, Pillars of Sky.
Well, I'm going to bring up something Shadow brought up last night.
Okay.
It was the building of the city. Now let Shadow take it from there because I know he was talking about that last night.
That was amazing. All of the building scenes, but the expertise Moses had at such an early age to be able to do that. I mean, none of us here could even begin. Even if we had all those slaves to do that work, we'd be like, yeah, I don't even know where to start. Trying to raise that obelisk, let alone everything else he had done, an entire city like that.
Well, and like you said with the work, I know that even if it's paper mache and stuff, man, just the visuals for all of it was just so great in the backdrops. Going through
it was a lot more than paper mache. Those statues, like the statue that the Pharaoh's son was in.
Did you actually bought that? Oh, it was a gift, I hope.
What's it made out of? It sounds like cheap plastic.
It is plastic that holds my dice in it. It's a dice that holds more dice.
Oh, I thought it was supposed to hold popcorn.
It was, but I'm not putting popcorn in that. You know where that thing's been?
Anyway, little side note, that was the movie.
All right. Movie?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's all we need to go. Now let's go back to this one.
Anyways, the paper shade and all the building stuff, Shadow.
Yeah, I don't think it was paper mache. To be honest, I'm pretty sure that it was things like wood. A lot of it was
Yeah.
solid and had to go through multiple takes on various scenes. But somewhere that stuff has either been destroyed or it's in a whole bunch of collections. And damn, what lucky son of a guns they are!
We
So many props from this movie to just they've got to be out there. You could literally make a museum of just the props from this movie. Put it somewhere, Vegas or something, and they'd make their money.
I know back then they used to have where they'd say cast of thousands, which I think this did.
Yeah.
But just looking at like what they did with the sheep, and I like how they did with the ducks. With the kids with the little sticks as
All
they're
the
all
animals.
leaving Egypt.
The only thing I could think when I was watching some of that is that it had to be like literally filmed on location to get the people and the carts and all that stuff. Just maybe it was a particular holiday or something like that, and they just filmed what was going on because it was 56, 58. So going over there and filming scenes would have probably been a lot easier and a lot cheaper than to try to do it than to try to make all that stuff the cards, the costumes, or just go there and film, and that's the way people were still dressed. I'm certain.
My like even when you look at Conan, a lot of those countries were still right after World War II, and they were still recovering. Now, was this filmed in Italy or was it filmed in Egypt? Or because I know Ben-Hur was filmed in Italy, or at least some of it.
I will let you know here in a second. I think they did a lot of back then. I think they what was I going to say? They filmed a lot in place wherever they think would actually best suit the place. So if you're doing like I don't know Roman Holiday, a Holiday in Rome, or whatever the movie is called, they filmed it in Rome. It wasn't until much later that they decided to say, "Hey, we could just throw a screen behind them, and we could be anywhere in the world."
Well, actually, looking at it, it appears that they did film it in Egypt, certain sequences. So I'm sure that they just simply told a lot of people, "Hey guys," because I remember my grandfather talking about this during the Depression, where he got on some extras in movies. We'll pay you $5 a day if you're willing to come out here. And they're like, "Well, wait a minute, I only make $2 a day." Yep, I'm out. You bring out hundreds
Mount
of people.
Sinai, the peninsulas. Yeah, I mean, so I would say, definitely filmed on site.
At least some of those scenes. So as I said, they were shot both in California and in Egypt. But so I just thought that was really cool.
Shadow, you are muted if you're trying to talk.
Sorry, I was sneezing. There was a fair amount of green screen going on, but that was, a relatively new technology. So I could see that, it was probably easier to just, take a camera crew out there with a director and a few other folks and just, film whatever,
Going back to the props, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these dresses and outfits ended up like high-end wax museums back in the day that would pay the amount of money for that the wardrobe.
Absolutely. If they didn't go to wives and mistresses of the people involved in the movie,
So was this movie? I mean, was it? Oh God, this is the first time I've ever seen this movie. I rented it. I watched it. Me and Drew here decided to sit down together and watch it, and it was worth watching. I mean, I've seen my share of Moses movies over the years. Between this one and the most recent one with Christian Bale, Exodus, I think is the name of it. And all of them is just repeating rinse, lather, repeat. from one movie to the other, even if it's a cartoon. But I have to say, with this one, maybe it's because it might not have been the first, but it was the very first big one. There was a lot of originality. I don't want to say originality to because everybody knows the story, but there's a lot of first timeness to this movie than there has been with all the ones made over the decades.
Well, yeah, that's because it was the first big one. So all other versions are just essentially going to be remakes, as this was arguably an adaptation, if you want to use that word. If you're taking a true story and adapting it into something, it would be ridiculous to change it for the sake of originality.
Right.
Which is also something they didn't do in the old days. They just told the dang story. They were like, the story is so epic, it needs to be told, and let's, do it right, because, back then, I think people would have been a little bit more prone to complain had you not, stayed pretty, close
It's
to
a
the script.
Bible movie. It's a, hypothetically, let's say you film this one using, and there's nothing wrong with them as people. I'm not trying to be a dick when it's, but if you film the movie entirely with, let's say, little people.
Like you?
Oh.
Yeah.
Hey, Connell, take that as a compliment. Anyway,
I have a little temper.
Well, that comes with the territory.
Yeah, you can't store it all inside of you. Actually, you can. But
I really would like to punch somebody today, please. Anyways, I'm not picky. No women, no children. So Jack's out on both accounts.
wait, what? I didn't hear you.
Nothing. Getting back to the movie. I like the movie. I wasn't thrilled that it was 3 hours and change long.
it's not 3 hours and change, it's like 3 hours and 45 minutes. It's just as long as Ben-Hur.
It might as well have been 4 hours.
Just for you, Connell, let's not forget the beginning, music that's like 5 minutes. Which thank
Why?
God, because I have it on DVD, I can fast.
Oh,
forward.
you know why? I know why. Because back then they probably didn't have 40 minutes of commercials while you were finding your seat.
Yeah.
They probably just said, okay, let's do this and let everybody have time to get to their seat, and then, we'll start the actual story, which was epic. I really wish I would have bought Ben-Hur. Having bought this one, I picked it up for little over $8 with shipping, etc., or tax or whatever from Amazon, and I will watch it again. I don't know when, but
Next
I
season.
will have. Maybe it's worth the watch more than once, and it's so weird how when you see a blockbuster these days, it literally, I can't think of any movie that's come out in the last 20 years that can compare. Even John Carter, one of my favorite movies of all time, even The Watchmen, my favorite movie of all time, cannot compare to the scope of the grandeur that this movie put into play.
Only one movie I can think of in the last, I'd say in this century, from like 2000 forward, is The Lord of the Rings, and that's it.
That's close. It's
That's-
close.
Well, that's
that's-
close, but the problem is that isn't real. That's why it's impossible.
It's a blockbuster, what we're saying. Well, neither was
Exactly.
Ben-Hur. But neither
Well-
was Ben-Hur, but I like Ben-Hur better. Regardless.
There are people that can make the argument that this was a nice story because I've yet to see anybody. This I understand from a faith point of view, but walk to the freaking ocean, throw up his hands, and
I'm
But the
just
fact is that there is a reason that they managed to escape. That is obvious. Even most radical atheists don't deny that historical events are in fact historical.
I'm going to bring something up.
Of course, some people are idiots, but that's besides the
You
point.
gonna mention how that's an actual occurrence that actually does happen, Carolyn?
Yeah, it does. About every 2,400 years, or that's what they've. It has to do with the weird wind. It's not just one aspect, but but they said it was basically very similar to like when the tides come in and the wind blows at a certain level. And anyone that's seen this, where it pushes water either up higher or lower, and that's what they're talking about. But it's not the way that it's shown. But the other aspect is, it's not until more recent times that people separated myth from history. The ancient old peoples, right up until probably, I guess, around Josephus's time, they were intertwined. I mean, anyone that read the Iliad, we understand this is it's always the gods were involved and things like that. So there's that aspect of, we don't do this separation between God and reminds me of how they have to go to BCE and CE nowadays instead of AD and BC. Okay, where does the common era come from? And you have to go back to the religious aspect. Anyway, that I don't want to get too much on that. But the whole point really comes down to from this is it's a great story. I don't care what anyone says. It's a great story. And when we're talking about this thing is how much did you, and of course we saw this, but I did enjoy the where he turns the water into blood. I thought that was pretty cool. I did enjoy it. For 1950s, it was pretty. And this is something I know Connell probably didn't expect. In the U.S., ABC used to put this on every Easter time. They would do it on live network, network TV, where people could watch it. And I think it was usually a 2-night part or something. And I mean, it was like 6 hours long with commercials, but
right.
But they would put it on every time, and it was good enough. They would do it every year. Very similar to Ben-Hur. So it's
I get it. It's like Christmas time. You couldn't turn a channel without bouncing into the Christmas Carol. It being a serious drama with Patrick Stewart in it, or the Muppets.
Yeah.
Well, did Mark say it was actually playing like yesterday or the day before?
Last night.
Yeah, on an actual regular channel type of thing.
Yeah, AMC.
Oh, okay.
I think. But yeah, I mean, this movie, I really have nothing negative. I can be jokey and sarcastic and have quick jabs at the movie. But as a whole, it was a good movie. I have no... Why the hell did you make me watch this feeling towards this movie? I have none of that. I didn't like the snakes.
I will say this much. Did you notice that Charlton Heston picked up the actual Cobra?
Yeah.
Now,
did you notice that I think his son played one of the kids in the movie?
No, I did not know that.
I think one of the younger versions of his son, Moses' son, was played by his kid.
Okay.
Or there was another Heston played. What are the odds?
I thought it was that his kid was playing himself as a baby.
Yeah, Fraser.
Yeah. See,
was the infant.
Okay. Well, that's only making sure that your kid's going to be, hey, this is you better take care of him.
How many movies did Clint Eastwood's kid was in, as growing up? Sure. Now he's a major Hollywood actor. Well, not major, but he's getting up there.
I also read that Yul Brynner, and we have to admit this, as Ramses, he's a great villain for Yul Brynner. He carries the gravitas and then feel of
freaking amazing. Even at the end when he broke, you know what I mean? The chops that guy had as an actor, just freaking amazing.
Jeez, he had citizenship almost everywhere. What was Russia back in the day? A Soviet Union. Far Eastern Republic, Soviet Union, France, China, United States, Switzerland. He got around. God.
I
Oh,
mean,
I
as
love
far as
him.
voices,
What?
Yul
Oh yeah.
what was the other? It actually, I mean, it's nice to see both the villain and the protagonist being able to hold their own, and you can actually feel the tension between them. That's really
That is a good. If you have a strong lead character, it being male and female, the opposite, it being male or female, need to be just as
Oh,
demanding on screen than the bad guy. Shouldn't always the good guy should never outshadow the bad guy, and the bad guy should never outshadow the good guy when it comes to presence on the screen. They both have a very important role to play, and you need to find actors or actresses that can do that.
hey, did you guys notice Lillian Munster in the movie?
which one was she?
Hold on.
That's where all.
Well, I tell you this though, after
Sephora.
watching,
Okay.
Sephora.
Oh, his wife was Moses' wife. Was that Safar?
I think so.
I did not. I thought she was attractive. I didn't realize that was her.
Yeah, Yvonne Carlo.
Oh wow.
But I can't seem to find the name of the guy who played Abraham.
Okay.
Abraham, Frank D. K. Vaughn or Abraham. Yeah, that's who played him.
Spell it out again.
He was on the F Troop. He played Chief Wild Eagle.
How do you spell his last name?
Kova.
Jacoba?
Yeah,
Or just
sure,
Kova?
why not?
Just Frank Kova, right?
Yeah, Frank D. Kova. Yeah,
Okay.
The other part I did enjoy is I did like, because we talked the visuals. Just look at the chariots, and really, you look at Ben-Hur and they have their chariots, but look at the chariots and how many that they had out there, and the different colors, and not just what Ramses had, which was gorgeous, and how they did all the inlaid work. Look at just look at his normal soldiers and stuff. I thought that was so cool. And apparently the Cecil DeMille was the one that he was liked enough from Crusaders that the Arabs liked him being out there and gave him as much help as he could in Egypt when he asked permission. So I thought that's cool too.
yeah.
I mean, this is one of those things that like I was like, it's hard to find these epics anymore. I mean, and admittedly, it's hard to get anything that's 4 hours long, which is why I said the closest comparable we have is Lord of the Rings. That's for both the length, if you ever watch the extended edition, and the amount of detail that comes out. I will mention one other, which is completely different, which goes into the post-apocalyptic, which is Mad Max Fury Road. That's the only other one I can think of that has such big sets and everything. But that's it in modern day. I can't think of any others because everyone else uses all the CGI in the background, and they don't. I mean, they use it in lieu of actually shooting on location or things like that.
Which always drives me nuts. It's like when you're filming something, it's like the second Christian Bale Batman movie. I was looking at the scene that's filmed in Chicago. And the person's like, how do you know? I know that track.
Well, it's a combination of the two. I know that they film, but you're right, for Chicago. I'm like, yeah, I know where that is. I've been there. But that's fine. It sets the mood. It's not, Gotham is kind of, even though I know that, Metropolis is supposed to represent Chicago and Gotham is supposed to represent New York City.
Well, it's funny. There is a Metropolis. Only where in America there is a Metropolis.
Yes, but I'm saying, but if you look at where the two cities are located, Metropolis is supposed to be Midwest, which is where Batman, which is Superman, and then Gotham's supposed to be New York City. But
I know. It's just funny that Chicago being Gotham and Metropolis being in Southern Illinois. I could dig this. Whatever.
I will say this much is, just how they did all of just when they did the Exodus and how everything was in there. That was done so well. Just with
Freaking amazing.
Yeah, with all the people and just looking at, it's. I was looking at it, I said, wow, visually this is just spectacular. It's one of those that I will admit is a bit hard to sit down to spend 4 hours unless you say, okay, I'm going to block out this 4 hour time. I had to watch it in like 3 parts. But
we did it 2 discs and it was fine. Had we known we were going to be late, we could have, I don't think we could have. I don't think we could have watched the whole thing today, and I'm glad we didn't. And since Bo didn't have a game Friday night, that was a nice change to be able to watch a movie with the little guy. What about Edward G. Robinson?
You mean the DACA or whatever his name was?
The governor or
you're talking about yeah. Here's the problem that I had with him. Of course, he's kind of sleazy, but I wish he had more gravitas. If he had more gravitas, it would have felt so much better. I just felt that.
Which one?
What was that?
Who? Edward G. Robinson?
Yeah.
Born in Romania.
Yeah, but I'm saying, but looking at him as the character, you just felt he's like, why would anyone follow him? That's the thing that gets me about that. Just because you can just feel like,
He had that perfect. I mean, he was a phenomenal actor, and there's a reason I bring this up. But who would want that role? He said, you know what? I'm going to take this role and I'm going to freaking run with it, and I'm going to make you dislike him on every freaking possible level. You know what I mean? Even Pharaoh, you're looking at him and he was in phenomenal shape. You know what I mean? For a guy who could have literally laid around just being fed grapes his whole life, that dude was probably one hell of a badass. You know what I mean? Someone you would not mess with.
So apparently,
Yul
Brynner was so worried about Charlton Heston, he went over and did a bodybuilding regimen so he would look good on screen because he found out he was.
He looked better. I mean, Heston was like, it was like, dude.
Yes. Well, they both looked very good.
I just pulled up a Ramsey II, just him as the real person, not the character, but him as a real person. And children, anywhere from 88 to 103 kids in his lifetime. That's how many kiddos he had.
Wait a minute, how many wives? I think he had like 54 or something.
It doesn't say on how many wives. He has a list, consorts. There's like, he has a list.
Yes.
Well, he probably was in pretty good shape. But the reason I brought up Edward G. Robinson,
as much as they look like sit-ups, those are not real sit-ups.
I was talking about push-ups. But anyways, I don't know how much time passed between this movie and Soylent Green, but the difference in Edward G. Robinson was stunning. You know what I mean? It had to have been, 20, 30 years or so.
It was 15. I think Soylent Green was 1973. And this is 58 approximately. But that said is, your 20 to 35 doesn't look nearly as different as 35 to 50.
What the Hungar?
Hey, Hungar.
But yeah, I mean, but Heston must have really, enjoyed his company, let's say, we need an old guy. We're bringing back, Edward G. It's his last movie. Let's get him in. You know what I mean?
He looks like a mobster. I mean, everything about him. If you'd put him in modern day clothing, even modern day, 1920s proper clothing, he looks nothing against the guy. I'm looking at a picture of him with a pipe, and it's his picture, and I'm like, that looks, he just looks like a head of somebody's family out there that you don't want to mess with.
Well, you know what though? That's what makes him great characters.
Didn't he play Captain Bligh in Mutiny on the Bounty with Bogart?
I could imagine that. Wait a minute, was Bogart in Mutiny on the Bounty, or was it the sorry, I was thinking the other one. What is the? There was another one that they had a mutiny on, but it
Or
wasn't a
just
bounty.
No, you're right.
I've only seen one mutiny, and it had Sir Anthony Hopkins and Mel Gibson, and it was.
I could be getting the name wrong. The World War II movie, the one with the
Yeah,
strawberry
yeah.
ice cream.
Oh yes, yes, I
What
remember
was it?
that.
Strawberry ice cream.
You have to go
Yeah.
see it to understand.
Yeah, it's one of those movies again where Bogart plays like kind of like the bad guy. You know,
Yeah, but basically, what like he says is the base. Sorry, we're switching movies completely now.
right.
Is
Sorry,
but
Edward, blame it on
It
him.
must be Sunday.
yeah, but what it is basically Bogart didn't like the captain, and by making the mutiny on the ship, he gets the captain off, and then he'll take his own position. You're right. That was it. That was actually a pretty cool film. But it also shows you the difference between charisma. What one person does is okay, but what another one does is not. Even if
It's how it's presented. It's always how it's presented, and the wordage that goes with it.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about this. I like playing cards. I'm a poker guy. I'd love to get down at a table, play Texas Hold'em or some card game with a group of guys, cigars and whatnot. And we're keep watching these older movies, right? And I'm like filling out my table with what actors from this generation would I want at my table.
None.
Charles Heston definitely being one of them. Bogart being number 2. And if we continue going through these movies, I'm pretty sure. I think the proper proper number for a poker game is 6 people. No, nothing less than 6, nothing more than 6. Right at 6. So I'm included. So I already got 2 people at the table. But could you imagine? I mean, imagine when they're filming something and a couple of these actors have like the day off, like not half day, full day, whatever it works off. As them just sitting around and having conversations. Some of these lots are right next to each other. So you have, all these major actors in the same studio at the same time hanging out. I would love to see what those cafeterias would have looked like.
Oh, that would be so awesome having this great group of everyone sitting around talking and joking and I think that would be really cool. Like they said, I'm going to ask this much. So ignoring Ramses and ignoring, of course, Moses, who was your favorite character? Oh, by the way, I can stay until 6:30. Who was your favorite character?
I really like Ramsey. I know that's not I know you cut those 2 people out. That's fair.
That's intentional. That's intentional. Yes.
Yeah. I like Edward
Really,
G.
it's kind of an easy pick, guys. It should be easy.
I mean, I could be a smart ass and say Baby Moses. But I will go with the actor Edward B. Robinson. I liked the way he portrayed that character.
Okay, good.
Somebody needs to feed the dog.
I was thinking just the opposite if he keeps that up.
Someone needs to eat the dog? All right,
No,
Shadow,
stop
who's your
eating.
favorite character?
Joseph. I mean, he had. I mean, from that sliding down the rope at the beginning. I mean, he was like, the Errol Flynn of the movie. I mean, he was tough as nails all the way there to the bitter end. A good guy, not the main hero, but still, he was a fun character, a loyal character. Had all. I mean, because there really weren't but 2 real bad guys. Everybody else was either a flunky or just window dressing, so to speak. Except a few of the female characters, were very interesting, or despicable, depending on your look at things. But yeah, he was just a fun character. He should have got a little bit more time, but the guy who played Abraham, I know I just looked him up and I can't find because his career was a long, long time ago and over a long time ago. But there's something I could swear it might have just been a voice part or something that we've all seen recently that he was in, and it just wasn't mentioned on Wikipedia or any of the other places. But that voice was just so freaking amazing.
I'm going to, for me, I think I have to agree with you about having Joseph on there. But, everyone I think did a really good job for playing their part. I also like Aaron there as he was doing his stuff. He's a little bit thing, but you could tell, okay, I'm here doing this part. You can tell that they're there to help, but I like the fact of, little side note here, I also like the fact that they had the censor bearers. You could tell the writers, and all the writers back then used to be well steeped in the classical mythology and biblical and everything else. And they're like, okay, I'm terrible with it. So the Hittites over here, and they separating the different tribes, the Jews. I thought that was pretty cool. I like the fact that they said, and the Nubians, talking about the sub-Saharan Africans in there. I thought that was pretty cool too, that they brought that all in. You know what? I will mention this because we're all mentioning Joseph. I will say this much: they gave a really good thing about, I forgot her name, but the Moses's adopted mother.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they did a really good job for her being a compassionate woman of allowing other people to ride on her palanquin and things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, guys. This movie is, another absolute winner. I'm
going to mention this much, just because. Which one did you like better, Ben-Hur or the Ten Commandments?
Honestly, this one.
Okay, I was just checking. I like Ben-Hur better.
Ben-Hur does have a lot more excitement with the chariot race and stuff, but this one is just, I don't know, just more powerful. I think Heston's performance was more
yes,
relatable.
I did like. I think that Charlton Heston's performance in this one was better. Myself, even though I think they came out.
He was a better kind of person, not just because he was Moses, but Ben-Hur was kind of a jerk, in a way.
Well,
bitter and pissed off, whereas Moses is at his worst just desperate, trying to understand the situation. I mean, how would you react? Suddenly you go from about to rule the freaking world to a slave to, trying to deal with, you've been chosen by God to bring forth, his message. Just, even at the end, which I think was too quick. They really ended the movie too quick when he said he wasn't going to cross over the Jordan, and I know they were running out of time. No worries, Hagar. You got to do whatever you got to do to keep being able to do these drive-by sniper roles on our shows, whatever it takes. But yeah, I mean, he said, I'm not going to go, and then like 2 minutes later, the movie's freaking over. It should have been like a slower, just more dramatic pull away from that scene.
I thought it ended appropriately, just because the big part had ended for the most part, and what else are you going to do for the 40 years? I did enjoy the whole thing with, when they talked about, which I just don't understand. This is, modern day is, why do you say, look, I have a golden bull as a god? And I went, it's just an item. That's, it's one thing to represent, but I'm like, well, look, we'll bring a god. We'll have this. We'll have that. And I went, what?
Because I honestly think 40 days in the desert, even to people today, could literally almost drive you crazy. The suffering and hardships that they, even though they apparently, after 40 years, they still had great, That's a neat trick. Okay. Of wandering, they would just, they needed some sort of, release, some sort of reprieve from the suffering, and then when their cornerstone had been gone for 40 days, that you know Satan or whatever took that time to sneak in and get everybody to just go
I've
freaking nuts.
I have a friend who
Just
actually went up, climbed up on Mount Sinai. This was somewhere in the mid 2000s, 2008, 2009. And he's a botanist. That's
Okay.
he
Yeah.
he had a chance to go over there, so he went. Can't blame him. Somebody gives me a chance to go over there, I'd go see it for my own curiosity. He's like, yeah, there's a few things on that mountain. If you burn them, you get high as hell.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it doesn't mean that. Yeah, but I don't know. For someone that's looked into some of the psychedelics,
Yeah.
you might say, yeah, you think that you're just hallucinating, but there's some darker forces out there. So just be careful what you're communicating with.
I completely agree with that. I know he was there telling me, he was showing pictures. He's like, yeah, if you burn that one, you'll get stoned. Eat that one, you'll die. And he was just going through it all. I'm like, this is really interesting in a very boring kind of way.
It's well, I'm thinking, just I did, because everyone knows the story, or everyone used to know the story when people
Yeah,
used
not
to read the
anymore.
Bible. Yeah, when people used to read the Bible.
No, I still say there's a lot of people out there of the Christian and Jewish faith structure who knows this story fairly well.
Well, yeah, but
they taught fairly
most
well.
people nowadays are very secular.
But what I'm referring to is that it used to be universally known, whether it didn't matter where you were, and now it's not. It's used to be. If you're religious, you should know it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you're right. I mean, it's amazing how different that particular aspect of America has become in, I'm not going to say a short period of time, because it's, been longer than I've been alive, and
but I'm saying
it's just absolutely shock. I mean, it's not shocking, because if you actually read the Bible, then that's inevitable.
Yeah, you'd know that the world is going to end in 5 seconds. At least according to him.
About 5 seconds. I don't know about 5 seconds.
We'll get into that conversation when we cover
I've had this conversation approximately 42 times.
Well, no. The real point is that people don't have the classical literature background that they used to, where it's like, look, and people forget about this. It's just like Shakespeare, and that's why I like Kenneth Branagh doing his Shakespeare stuff. Is just because everyone's familiar with it, you watch it to see their interpretation or in how they perform it, even when the lines are the same. And it's amazing in how things change depending on how people say stuff.
Well, speaking of Shakespeare, me and you talked about doing on this channel, on this show, sometime down the road, I don't know when, but doing a month where we pick our own, I don't say purely just Shakespeare, but some old, it being Knight's Tale or whatever, old author, playwriters, movie thing.
Did you just say a Knight's Tale?
Knight's
Is
Tale.
that the one that had literally Led Zeppelin as part of the soundtrack?
The music was updated, but the story was an old was a retortation. It's like the movie with Heath Ledger and Julia Stiles. 10 Things I Hate About You was originally Shakespeare Taming of the Shrew.
I'm going to mention something. Is if we are going to do a
but if it doesn't say that in the title, then they're kind of doing what they're doing a disservice. If you don't have the guts to stand by the fact that you're ripping off a story, you know what I mean, and then say, "Oh yeah, it was based on this," but you don't have the guts to put it in the title.
Hey, 7 Samurai Mason 7, and let's not forget, for a few dollars more, with Clint Eastwood, those were all stolen from Akira Kurosawa.
And wait. And 10 Things I Hate About You, William, good old Billy Boy Shakespeare did make an appearance. Just because it wasn't in the title doesn't mean the dues weren't paid.
I'm going to say one other thing though. If we're going to be talking about some of this, is if we're going to do Shakespeare or Shakespeare inspired films, I'm doing Rand, so we can all get King Lear in us.
Sure.
Not that,
You guys better be nice, or I will pick Romeo and Juliet.
you know what?
Which
That's
version
fine.
of it?
Yeah. Is it Romeo Must Die? Is it the one with
Jet Li? I watched that one. That one I'll watch again.
I'm sorry, anyone that's watched Rand and the Millie, that's going to be all subtitles. So there you go. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Rand?
Which one?
Rand.
I've never heard of it.
It's boy, you want to talk about our misconceptions of how people viewed samurai? Go watch that film, and that will go. Oh, that's how samurai really fought. Oh, it's got gunfire and all sorts of stuff, along with bows and arrows. The King, just visually beautiful. I think it was one of Akira Kurosawa's last films, but it won the Academy Award for Best Foreign Film. But it's a great film. And if we want to talk about a jester, that's a jester done right. But it takes a lot of effort, especially from Connell there, who's dyslexic.
I do audiobooks. I don't fuck around anymore.
I know. Well, I'm just warning you for this, is that if it's going to be Rand, even if you don't get it, just watch it visually, because it ties in all sorts. It's just cool.
But no, I think if we continue doing this, and I hope that we do, and eventually get back to the Dresden Files at some point. Nodge, nodge, wink, wink. Please say more.
No. I will not say more.
Ooh.
You mean like the Raven?
No. You know, I want it.
Nice.
I grew up reading his stuff, and as far as I know, there's been a handful of like Dollar General variations of movies been made off of his work, and it's so freaking sad.
Whose work?
Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh. Well, you know, for those Cthulhu fans out there, you know, it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have that. So
I just remember Monkey's Paw. Was that him? No, that's a
no,
different
that
one.
was Robert Louis Stevenson.
Actually, it's Jacobs apparently.
Oh, okay.
Why
did I think that? Or am I thinking? I'm thinking Demon in a Bottle, or Imp in a Bottle, something like that.
I just remember my son when he was 9 years old, and he read the little story, and just coming over because I was taking him through Hungary. He says, he just started quoting, "You never get exactly what you want. When you wish for something, it always turns out bad." I wanted adventure, and I don't want any more adventure. I just want to stay around and do nothing. I just said a laugh. Anyway,
yeah, like
I miss the humorous child of 9.
As children or as young adults, we ask for things that we're not quite aware of what the price tag is. I'm not even talking about physical things. It's like, man, I really wish I could learn some patience. Wait, what did you say? Says the universe or God? Here we go. Ah, crap.
Yeah,
but back to the movie. What?
Never mind. Wishing for patience.
Well, if you're a doctor.
Yeah.
So
back to
I
the
can
movie.
let that one go.
Did anybody actually have a favorite scene? One scene amongst all of them that has been that you look at fondly and say, "Oh yeah, I remember that part."
I'm
There's a couple.
yeah, I have to. I'm going to say for myself, it's when they did when they were going to be released the day after, and you just see everyone coming out and just the pageantry of everything. You know, where they have all the gold and they're all walking out. I mean, that whole thing, which I know goes on forever, but it's you get to see the horse. I like the donkey sitting down where they couldn't move the donkey, like 400 years in slavery, and this is the one time you don't want to move. You know,
I know. I'm thinking the same freaking thing.
You know, the ducks, the sheep that they're getting through when they have the flame bearers, or the torch bearers. You know, so everyone, you know, where they carry the fire. I guess the fire bearers, where they carry the fire around, and Joseph's on top directing people. I just thought that's one of my favorites for that.
All right. What about you, Jack? Since you've been doing nothing but talking this entire time.
Yeah, I just
Mark's
can't keep my
position.
mouth shut today. What is my favorite scene?
Yeah.
Probably that is a difficult question because there are a lot of genuinely really good scenes. There was one scene that I liked the angle and the shot, but it wasn't really that important. Like someone was looking out. I forgot who was looking out over the armies. And the way that was like the angle of it and the actual visuals of it was nice, but it wasn't particularly important. And then, of course, all the scenes with like divine intervention and stuff, those were all pretty cool. I would say that my favorite part was probably when the Ten Commandments were being written.
Ah, you stole mine, you bastard.
I was kind of curious on how they did that because they poured off the stone like corn syrup.
Something.
Yeah, that was pretty epic. I was trying to figure out how they were doing the practical effects. I figured out some of the other stuff and noting the when and where there was green screen effects, things like that. I'm gonna probably have to just go with, since the little guy stole my favorite scene. I'm gonna have to go with the parting of the Red Sea, man. That was, if you think, because I figured out how they did it. They had like water flowing down like two walls, right?
Yeah.
And they filmed it and then just reversed the film and filmed it backwards. So it was like constantly rushing upward,
Yeah.
which was, genius for the time. Because what else could they have done? You know what I mean? They didn't have computers, or even animation would have looked, cheesy. Like the fire scene. There was one scene where it was like, okay, that's just animated. That's just a cartoon, drawn over. Okay, still for back then that was, ahead of its, well, not ahead of its time, but it was, it probably was amazing to people less educated in, cinematography and things like that. They probably, millions, if not a billion people probably didn't understand how they got that effect. But the water effect, the whole scene, even when, Ramsey said that this is, more of a job of a butcher than a general, and he just, stayed back. Because even he, as much of a douchebag as he was, I don't think he, thought that there was any chance of failure, but he wasn't going to dirty his hands with, just slaughter, because they were trapped as far as he could see. But at the same time, you'd be like, oh, I've never seen that before. Wow, maybe I don't want to go into the water, where the water's going to eventually come back. And it did, but
I'm going to mention one thing because we're talking about the scene. Let's not forget at the very end where he's going to slay his wife.
I know. He couldn't even.
She says, before you do that, and he just sits down, and you can just tell there's a, he just stares into space. He stares off into space. I thought that was so great at the end for them.
That was good.
Ability,
I don't know how I forgot about that one.
The ability to convey such utter defeat, you know what I mean, without hamming it up was just, I don't know what they were channeling amongst themselves, but I hope and pray that I never feel that way myself, because wow, and it made me think, okay, now how did Egypt not just get conquered right after that? You know what I mean? Hey, Grandma, okay, well, your army is now gone, right? Your slaves are now gone. How did Egypt not just crumble after that? Did they just turn everybody who wasn't a slave into slaves?
Well,
or
Ramsey had 106 children. I'm sure he found a way.
You know what? As someone that is using my child as slave labor, I will say this: he's doing well. No, well, I have to laugh because we spent like 8 hours yesterday helping dig trees and trying to plant.
I was going to say we're digging more holes.
We finished 5 today, and I'm just praying for rain. Speaking of, flowing water.
Jesus, you can have what we had a couple days ago.
Good luck. I'm gonna go beat my dog. I'll be right back.
Oh, no.
I was about to say the same thing.
Speaking of flames.
I mean, I think sarcastically, my favorite part was the credits, so I can go pee. So I could get up and go pee because it was a long ass movie. I think okay.
But the second half wasn't that long. I was actually surprised it went by so quick.
Yeah, it was like an hour and a half for the second half, and there was like 2 hours at the beginning.
That's true, but when you gotta go, you gotta go.
This is true. Well, this is why I said I watched it in 3 parts.
Yeah. Well, I just got done with Bruce's camp. What?
It had an intermission. That's what intermissions were for.
I know. I fast forwarded through it.
What?
There's your mistake. There's a reason that they put the intermission.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What happened was
We need more patience.
I had like almost 8 hours of Bruce's campaign. Then I'm like, oh god, I still need to watch this movie.
Oh,
There goes my dating life. My Fridays and Saturdays are now watching 4-hour old movies.
Good. That's
you
good.
just need to find that girl and say, no, honey, we still have to.
You know what?
Netflix and chill. We have to watch the film.
You need to count your blessings there, Connell.
That's where I'm joking with Connell there. It's like, oh, you have Netflix? Fantastic. I'm just going to watch a movie. And she's like, oh, what are you doing watching the movie? No, you don't understand. This has to be done by Sunday. So, yes. I agree for long films. Any film over 2 hours needs an intermission.
The Hobbit needed
Not over
one.
2 hours. Not over 2 hours. Maybe over 2 hours.
The Hobbit needed one. The second Hobbit needed one. And the third Hobbit needed 2.
All of the Lord of the Rings needed and also the cartoon before. No. You know what we need before the cartoon is we just need the old serials of what was it, Flash Gordon and stuff. Since we were talking about that last night, for the Johnmas. There we go.
I was gonna say, but my actual favorite scene was when he was top on the hill and he was holding the commandments and the lightning was going in the background. I thought that was just absolutely gorgeous. I loved all the scenery on it. All right, well, you got to get going here in a minute. I think we basically beat this proverbial stone tablet everywhere around. So we're going to call a little bit earlier today than I want to. I am so sorry for everybody in the panel and chat. My life got chaotic.
We heard.
Really fast today.
Indeed, we did hear.
My wife's next door neighbor's name is Karen, and she is embodying the Green Witch from Wizard of Oz. I'm gonna take you and your dog too. Whatever bullshit. So
you know what? We definitely need to watch that one real soon. I haven't seen that movie in so long, and it is.
We might do a fan. I don't want to. We might do a sci-fi month. We might do a fantasy month. We might do old. It feels like we're kind of doing old literature month right now, but we're not.
Well,
Robin Hood.
El Cid. I don't even know that I've ever seen El Cid, to be honest. But
I know that one's free on YouTube. So, really quick.
It doesn't matter. I got this one so cheap. I'll probably buy that one too, and then a couple weeks from now I'll grab. Yeah, absolutely. Planet of the Apes got to be in there. I already own Soylent Green. I don't own Omega Man.
If you're continuously buying Charles Heston movies, you need to buy the remake of Planet of the Apes with Marky Mark in it.
No,
Charles Heston plays a ape. He plays he's in that movie as well, and he plays an ape this time around.
I know. I saw it. I saw it in the theater. I
didn't know that. And I do like Tim Roth a lot, but I couldn't get into that movie. It was, the entire series of the original movies, it's really amazing when you know about the cycle, the whole circle, how it just goes forever in a circle. I don't even know if they planned that, but the way it worked out, freaking amazing. And God bless everyone who's ever seen anything Rod Serling worked on, because in my opinion, that was the greatest of all the Twilight Zones.
Okay, so Connell, what was your question here?
I know you don't do YouTube. Well, you do YouTube, but you got smart about it. You let everybody else do the heavy lifting, and you just make guest appearances. I see what you're about.
It seems to be exactly what he does. Yeah.
I know you're fairly steady on a few people's shows throughout the week. I know you're on EO Geeks. Anybody else's we should look for you on?
Well, of course, Shadow's on
Saturday
nights. But the other thing is that I'm going to be traveling for probably the next month, so I'm just going to be listening to EO Geek, if anything.
All right. Okay. Well, later this week before Easter, me and you will have to do at least one more late night chat.
Sure.
Before we take a holiday break of sorts. So you will not be around for Easter. You won't be sitting in your apartment wishing you didn't eat that 5th or 6th or 8th deviled egg.
Oh no! See, I'll probably, unless my friend invites me over for Passover. To be fair, he is Jewish. If they invite me over, I'll go over for it. Otherwise, I'll sit at home and pick myself up.
So gorge yourself on Cadbury eggs. I know you.
Peanut butter M&M.
If you have nothing to do on Easter, we will not be doing the review, or what. We don't actually have a name for this show as of yet. We really need to get to that.
I got one, but I'm keeping it.
Okay.
We will not reviewing any movie next Sunday because it is a holiday, and I will respect that because people do have things to do. But if Omanow is not too busy after gorging himself off of the good eats, not the show, but actual food, I might plug you to see if you want to do something, because I'm going to be sitting around my apartment because I hate ham. All right.
Ham is fucking awesome.
Oh, you know what? I got to find out what's going on, because I can do something earlier in the day, but I can say as much as I think I'm supposed to. I'll have to see if they have it, but I'm supposed to get with Weird World Gaming or Weird whatever. You know what I'm talking
Weird
about.
World War II? Brian?
Yes. Yeah, I was supposed to meet with him for today, but I was planning and just completely covered in mud, and I'm like, look, my whole body hurts. I just want to.
Yeah, I invited him on to a one-on-one this Friday. Hopefully he'll be able to make it because that guy's channel is freaking awesome.
No, wait a minute.
If you guys haven't subscribed, what are you doing with your life? What's up, Multi?
So Bo's not having a game this Friday?
Hell, I don't even know if I have game this Friday.
You better.
I'm just checking because you said that. Oh, okay, never mind. Just double checking. I wasn't sure.
I got invited.
No, my show's early. My show's like early in the afternoon.
Oh, okay.
All right.
I've only done one.
Yes.
Multi-Gunman says, I came for the video, but I stayed for Jack's hats.
Thank you. I have quite a few.
I can believe it.
I will say as much as I have one of I went to Russia in 1993, and I got some of the fur hats. I just love those.
No Killer Rabbit films?
Well, we could be watching, at some point, what was
Holy
the
Grail?
Monty Python's
Quest? Holy Grail, yeah, we really need to get to that one. Sure. All right.
Awesome,
okay, everybody. I know Omanow has to bounce to go be a parent, so I want to thank him for showing up today. Once again, sorry I'm running late. Yeah. Anyways, I look forward to seeing you, talking to you sometime this week, Omanow, and maybe we can get together and do something. All right. If you want to head and bounce, go for it. Shadow.
As Omen's literally brushing his teeth on camera. That's
right.
freaking amazing.
Hey, I don't exactly remember when you say your birthday is, but I know
because I did.
What?
You didn't say it.
Yeah, I haven't said because it's this month. It's toward the end. That's about all you're going to get from me.
All right, well,
I don't want people, sending me hate mail, and exploding birthday cards and stuff. But it's coming up, and It's just going to be another day. I don't, I'll be 56 for those of you who need to know that kind of information. But I don't feel a minute over 70.
So I want to be
You want the minute
probably-
over 70.
I know I probably won't be the first, but I want to wish you a happy birthday because I don't know when your birthday is.
I think you are the first, actually.
Bam. So I'm going to go ahead and say happy birthday. And I know
Thanks,
this
bud.
month, after watching El Cid, we are going to the wild, wild, wild west. We are going where cowboys and Indians and whores live. The only one I really care about is, well, we'll talk about that on this show.
Excuse me, what?
Cowboys and Indians and brothels. Don't you know who won the West? It wasn't the gun. But I'll let you fill in the blank later on.
I think we're gonna probably start that one off with Jackie's pick, right?
Yeah, probably.
Jackie, what's your pick?
Blazing Saddles.
I think that would be a good a good start, a good fiery start going with a blazing. So after El Cid, we will be bouncing into the land of Mel Brooks's Blazing Saddle. Then we will talk amongst ourselves. I think I will go after Jack. Then everybody else will fill them out. But so not this coming Sunday, but the Sunday after that, we will be reviewing El Cid. Then after that, Blazing Saddles. Now the trick with eating Blazing Saddles is a good pot of beans.
And make sure that you watch it with someone you love.
That won't be a problem. What's your pick for Western Month?
Who, mine?
Mine?
Bowman?
Oh, you know what? I like the Magnificent Seven.
All right, thanks. I was gonna pick that one, but I'm pretty solid that I'm gonna go with Westworld
Okay.
because of the mixing genres and it's got Yul Brynner in it. So I mean, might as well keep this ball rolling.
Oh, wait a minute. We go from Charlton Heston to Yul Brynner now.
I know, right? Because if you're gonna pick a Magnificent Seven, which has just got a star-studded cast, just holy crap.
Now, Grandma, is that secret ingredient bourbon?
More bean?
It's
more
called
bean.
bacon.
Bacon, bourbon, brown sugar, the 3 B's, and baked beans.
I will say this much: anyone that's I get tired of what they call Tex-Mex charro beans. You can go for that. Those are much. I'd much rather have those than refried or other crap that they have for beef.
Right.
Black beans are pretty good though.
All right. So, Magnificent Seven for Omenal, Blazing Saddles for Gentleman Jack, Westworld for Shadow and Sun. We will later have Mark's pick. I'm torn between 3 movies. I haven't quite decided. As of right now, as I sit, it is Serenity.
Okay, mixing genres. All right.
That's a good one. That's a really good
Yeah,
one.
I have nothing against that.
And I don't own it. I don't know what happened to it, but it disappeared. So I'll have to go buy it. But that means the little guy's gonna have to catch up on Firefly before he can watch it, because otherwise, yeah.
It's either going to be Serenity,
Leap on the wind, man.
Young Guns, story of Billy the Kid. Almost though with Young Guns, I feel like if we watch one somewhere down the road, we have to watch the sequel. You need both. I know it's kind of weird. The third pick is a cowboy movie with Harrison Ford in it.
Cowboys and Aliens.
Okay.
Mixing genres. We're trying to do this so one is so Jack enjoys the stuff too. That's the other part that
True.
tell you.
But I mean, he's never seen a Clint Eastwood Western. So, Mark, don't let us down, man. Pick a good one.
Oh God. The Pale Rider, Yeah.
Good, the bad, the ugly, a few dollars more.
More.
I mean,
you know
we were
what, though?
talking about
the
classic
good, the bad, and the
literature.
how
ugly.
about Josie Whale?
Wait, you know another good one is Once Upon a Time in the West.
That is a
Right.
good one.
It's not one that people see that often either.
There was a movie, I can't remember who it was. I don't remember the name of it, but it had oh god, Sam Neeson. Yeah, Sam Neeson and the guy who played in Tom Selleck. Tom Selleck and Sam Neeson were both in it, and they played brothers.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Quigley Down Under.
Oh, I like
No,
it. Down Under.
Never seen that.
Does that
one.
count as a Western?
I have to ask James.
Well, if
Okay.
you go west and not, if you continue going west, eventually you'll hit it.
Well, he's technically
Well,
east.
you'll-
You have to go. He's ahead of us in time rather than backwards. No,
Well, if you keep going east, eventually you'll get to the west. So yeah.
don't you know that the world's flat? It doesn't work that way. No,
I don't want to talk about that. Jesus.
no, sorry, it's just fun.
Yeah,
No,
he's got a long history of trolling flat earthers. Trust
A
me,
very
you do not
long
want to
history.
open up that can of whoop ass.
All right,
It's been a while, but I can go back to that.
I'm
you know
trying
what?
to
This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to do because we basically already did it this month. Sometime down the road, we're going to pick an actor that we all like. And we're going to pick a movie from his selection of movies. This might as well set for my Robin Hood pick and Jack's Greater Glory pick. This might as well have been a Charles Heston movie month.
Well, and then we're going to do Yul Brynner
How's that a bad thing?
and Clint Eastwood apparently.
Right. So I think we might have to do that. There's a couple different genres and ideas that we could definitely do in the far future. And as far as I'm concerned, you see these people on the panel with me, we're not going anywhere anytime soon. We will go through all the classics and some of the bad ones if Jack gets his way. And
That's a lie. That's a lie. Wait, that's a lie. I've only picked one bad movie ever. All right. Xenophobia is a fantastic piece of art. It is one of the great.
I just can't have him lie to the general public like that. I'm sorry, but that's fake news. Okay, let's get him back.
I mean, he just watched the 10 Commandments. What number was it? Thou shalt not lie. Bear false witnesses.
Thou shalt not blow smoke up thy neighbor's ass.
No, honor your father. That's what this really comes down to. Oh, you know what? Can I?
You-
I'm only saying facts. All right. Xenophobia is a fantastic.
I hear fake news.
You cannot keep silencing me. Never again.
I don't want to be considered the Fox News of the gaming world. No fake news.
No, wait a minute. Jack did the Western anyway. I mean, he did his.
Oh yeah, he did pick Western. Yeah, great for the greater greater.
Which was a
glory.
great pick.
Was amazing.
No, we've got to see freaking Blazing Saddles.
No. He still gets Blazing Saddles. I'm just saying that
Okay.
that I just want to say that he's picked multiple Westerns.
I actually picked some pretty good picks. I mean,
Actually, that makes up my mind just because I really want to see it again. We are going to, for my pick, we are going to pick Serenity.
Serenity's cool. Shadow, how do you feel about that?
Serenity is one of my top 3 favorite TV shows of all time. Or
it's
Firefly, excuse me.
Well, the reason I ask is because it's your birthday month, so.
Yeah.
No, Abraham Lincoln. I mean, that was the second worst thing that it was the worst thing that happened to Abraham Lincoln in the theater ever.
Yeah, we might even do an 80s.
Wow.
80s
A lot.
movie.
That was actually a lot. Yes.
I don't know. Halloween. My pick might be The Lost Boys.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
So with all this joking around being said, Omen Al should have been on the road probably about 10 minutes ago.
No, I'm good for about 10 minutes. Then I have to get the boy. We have to leave at 7.
I want to thank everybody in chat. I want to thank the panel. Sorry, Mark, that we took off so freaking late that you weren't able to join us. Like I said, when it comes to the show, we will have to figure out what the hell we want to call it. 4 guys and a boy. Well, that sounds bad.
That sounds very bad.
That sounds horrible.
That sounds More
You'd
than
find
horrible.
that channel. You'd find that channel on a Catholic TV. Anyways, that's not very Christian of you.
I don't care.
I got to go back to church now.
No, he was doing this, and you asked him to turn it up. No, sorry.
We might have to do an 80s. We might have to do a movie 80s month. There's a lot of good movies that came out in the 80s.
It's just pure testosterone month, which is just the manliest films we can find that are.
If that's the case, it'll be He-Man, Master of the Universe.
I might take a 2-week vacation to that time.
Hey, you know what though?
Hey,
Dolph Lundgren was a badass.
Hey, if I can't,
And he's a
take
chemical
a
engineer. He's
pass
trained as
for-
a chemical engineer.
I know. It's like
People don't give him enough credit.
Honestly, if we did that, all joking aside, if we did a sport related to one variation of that, whatever, my pick would be the first, not the second, not the third, but the first Rocky.
Rocky 1 is really good. The other one that I like is, if you're going to talk about that, does Mortal Kombat count? You know, the one from 1995 or whatever? No.
I will kick you off too. Jack will
wasn't
have backstage.
Christopher Lambert in that one? It was Christopher Lambert movie, right?
Oh, I can't remember.
I don't.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just like the
Oh,
music.
You guys know my sports movie, right, Jack?
Yes.
Bend it like Beckham.
Yes, we do.
That's
He
just
only
Shadow
knows
says,
one
bend it
sports
like
movie, and
Beckham.
we only watched it.
The Field of Dreams.
No.
It's a good movie. but-
Rollerball. Come on,
Oh,
rollerball.
rollerball. Yes, rollerball.
The new one or the old one?
The old
Is
one.
it a new one?
How dare you? There's only
Well,
one.
actually, when I say new one, came out almost 20 years ago. So it's the old one or the older one.
Yeah, what we're talking
original.
about is James Caan. James Caan.
Yeah,
I
before
think
that
it
all
was the second one,
before
too.
all that unfortunate domestic abuse stuff.
I don't know.
You know what I will say, if we're gonna do sports, do you count what was it? Was it Ford versus Ferrari or whatever
that
that
was
one
a
was?
good movie.
That was a good movie.
That was a good movie. I mean, I could do the Mighty Ducks.
Yeah. I enjoyed it.
Hey, and Omanal, you can't threaten us with a 2-week vacation. If I can't take one, you can't. Because I would have turned in my chits for Ben Hur and the Ten Commandments.
Oh,
Hey,
come on, you love them.
You enjoyed them, and that's the reason you hate me so much.
Probably right.
Race.
All right, well, I gotta get going.
All right, take it easy.
Have a great one, man.
So, all joking aside, what do you got going on this week?
We're gonna do some painting tonight, and obviously I'll be hanging out with Hungar in the mornings. I got a whole bunch of games this week that are not televised, but we'll have a couple of. We'll have our Tuesday announcement video because it's a brand new month, and we're gonna try and get back to our original schedule of Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays for the little guy, because the fan mail's just been pouring in. For Jackie, how much they miss him, on a regular basis.
I have things to do. A lot of things to do. I'm incredibly busy now.
We understand, but we appreciate the time that we get to hang out with you.
I would hate Shadow's show to be Shadow in the absent son videos because
in a couple years that's probably inevitable when he's off doing the college or Air Force thing, but he will have the ability to still come on live streams and stuff like this wherever he's at, because Sundays are kind of off days unless for some reason he's got work or whatever, and if he's going to college there's no class on Sundays, so he won't be going anywhere too far too soon, hopefully. But we've got some cool stuff. It's going to be an all Western themed month for April again. I've got some stuff I need to get done and some ideas lurking. for
What
that
will you
sort
be
of thing.
talking about this coming Saturday? Because I think if you have a spot for me, and depends on the topic, good old Uncle Connell will be making a visit on a shadow chat.
I honestly, I don't have a topic yet.
He never has a
it-
topic.
no,
And
no,
even if he does have a topic, he never sticks to it.
well, not last week, but the week not yesterday, but the week before, George from Emperor's Choice, graced us with with his presence, and I'm not going to pass up an opportunity to talk about Arduin for 3 straight hours.
By the way, I love the book. I've been thumbing through it. I feel like there's a few more books I need to read before I get to that book. I feel like
No, believe it or not, well, the first 3 are kind of crucial. But again, it's more of a supplement. Even all the way up to book 9, they're more of a supplement to whatever game you're playing. You can change the numbers around, but getting the original trilogy in hardback is really where most of the magic is. And if you're loving it, then getting the other books. But if you do, let me know. I'll get you a promo code or something from George and Dave.
That I won't be. It won't be in the next couple months because my daughter's birthday, and other things are coming up. I have to save money for.
It's not. It's about $40 for the original for the original trilogy in hardback, because that's the way you want to get it. It's got a lot of extra content. But don't worry. If you wait long enough, we'll hit that 1,000 subscribers, and it'll be one of the giveaways.
Gotcha.
We're getting there. We're
All right. Well, I want to thank you and young Senor. Am I saying that right, Senor?
Senor.
Senor.
It's not senor, it's senor.
I am not going to step all over and I mean this full-heartedly, a very beautiful language. I just don't have it in me right now. I will continuously call you Gentleman Jack if you're cool with that.
Yes.
Once I learn the Gaelic term for, manliness, I'll call you the opposite. Your uncle loves you. Keep in mind, Jack, your uncle loves you. And if I don't pick on you, who will? Well, rest of high school, but that's a whole different subject.
That's a good question. I know exactly who. A certain Boy Scout.
Jade? Does Jade pick on you? I'll talk to him.
No, you don't know.
I call Jade.
One of his oldest friends from school.
No, I call Jade from Gatekeepers. Which, by the way, aren't you hosting this week's Gatekeepers?
I don't think so.
Immortals?
No, I think that's Jade. I have the dubious honor of doing the one on Demons and Devils.
Right, which I'm looking forward to, if not being there, to watch. But go check him out. Go check out Jade on Jade's Tabletop Tavern RPG. Some horrible names, but for Gatekeepers, that's where you find that gentleman right there. On occasion, myself and Jade, as we're talking about the hobby and questions that pop up in the. Then this coming week, we on Table Breakers. Table Breakers is Breakers of Table. Kai will be start talking about steampunk RPG. And I'm looking really hard into that. That sounds like so much fun. Here's a little bit. He's also doing a one shot. Here is a little sneak of a character I might be playing. For those who know me, know that I've never played a barbarian. I don't like playing dumb characters. I won't do it. No, sir, not at all. There's a good chance for the first time, and just for the chat and for my fellow breakers of the table, I might be playing, hey guys, how you doing? Barbarian of the Week. I don't know yet, but it's looking that way.
And I finally get to play an Inquisitor. Go figure.
About damn time. Jack.
Yes.
I know you're out being a teenager and doing teenager not things, like there won't be no jumping off a trampoline into a swimming pool, chasing the cheerleader around with a weirdly looking. You don't do the atypical high schooler things. What are you up to?
Not much, except for like about everything.
I heard you
No.
got. I heard you got some achievements from your school for academic and for your art for the military aspect that you're going for.
Yes, in fact, I got 2 awards for the exact same thing. One dedicated to myself, and the other to myself, except my first and last name are reversed.
Congratulations. What were they?
For a Veterans Day ceremony.
That's really cool. What rank are you as of right now? Did you get a promotion?
Cadet second lieutenant.
Very cool, man. Very cool. One of these days, I'd like to see you all in uniform, all spiffy up.
Perhaps, but perhaps not. I don't know.
It doesn't have to be all over YouTube thing. I'm just kind of curious for myself. I have high hopes for you in your future. I really do.
He's a handsome devil.
Thank you.
He's just modest.
That's all right. There's nothing wrong with being modest. Well, there is.
Modesty is lost upon this generation.
No, modesty is not lost in this generation. Common sense is lost on this generation.
Nah,
But then
you
again,
aren't
common
screaming from the
sense
ground.
has been lost in a few generations. With that being said,
You
I
don't
wanna
see it
go
from the
out-
ground.
I want to thank everybody in chat for being here, hanging out with us. I want to actually thank Shauner. He made a video about
Sean's a cool guy.
Shauner. It can be a cool guy. I have nothing bad to say about the guy personally. I like poking the bear. But thank you for the free advertisement. Anytime you want to use me as clickbait, I'm not gonna say no.
I must have missed that. What did he have to say?
Oh, I don't know. I just saw my face on him, and in a very, very popular situation. I don't care. I'm not bitching at him. This is not what this is about. I'm not bitching. I just want to say thank you to him for the free advertisement. So, I think we we ended last week's with me giving a direction on how to make a perfect dirty martini. Now, once you get the vodka, you have to get a martini glass to make sure it's cold. Put a couple ice cubes in it. Then you want to get a gin or a vodka that you like. Preferably, I like